Chances are, if you're watching this, you probably take almost everything in your life for granted. In this video, I'm gonna go over what my experience has been like on house arrest and having to restart my life at 41, as well as what this whole experience has taught me about life. The number one thing I learned from being on house arrest and becoming completely disenfranchised by my life circumstances and some of the bad decisions I made in my past is that a lot of people focus on things that are completely irrelevant to their lives. Stuff like politics. I know a lot of people think focusing on politics is something that's going to make a difference in your life, but at the end of the day, most people just waste their time online complaining about left and right and all this other bullshit that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And when you're someone like me who feels like they've been pulled out of the matrix, I guess you could say, it's almost like when I look at what people are arguing about, it doesn't register, because like I've been in this little bubble of going to work, going to the gym, and being on house arrest, having to reflect on a lot of the mistakes I've made. And a lot of the things that people stress out about, people that complain about, they seem very trivial when you're in a situation like this. And I've almost gotten to the point where I've realized that I don't need to show off to people anymore. I feel like I've been kicked out of society in many ways because I'm just on my own doing my own thing. And in many ways, it's very liberating not being part of this whole rat race of comparing yourself to other people. When you go through something like this, it humbles you so much. I started this channel because I wanted to help people that were in a similar situation to me, or provide some type of motivation for people who are going through stuff. Quite a few years ago, I struggled a lot with addiction. I got myself in a lot of trouble. By the grace of God and by hiring the right attorney, I ended up coming out of that and I ended up winning my case. I took a plea bargain where I would be on house arrest. Prior to all of this, I had a business. I had a lot of things going for me. I had a new vehicle. I had my own place. I had to sell everything. I ended up going bankrupt. It was a brutal situation. When I was in that state, I realized I was a lot more arrogant. I was a lot more full of myself. I didn't have the same amount of empathy that I have for other people as I do now. For anybody who might be watching this who is in a low place, just know that you can get through it. The hardest part of your life is gonna make you the best version of yourself. Being forced to reflect on myself, I cut out all of the drugs, I cut out all of the alcohol, I cut out all of the friends that were engaging in these things. I've learned how to guard my energy, how to be more focused on the positives of life, being around people that are pushing themselves to be better. For some people that don't know how house arrest works, sometimes you get an intermittent sentence. You can clock in on the weekends instead of actually having to go to the jail and check in and be there over the weekend. To some people, that might not sound a lot. I see a lot of people try to downplay what jail time is like. When you are forced to be alone, because I live by myself, and you don't have anybody around you, that's a very difficult thing to deal with. Humans are meant to socialize. It can have some negative effects on your mentality unless you find some kind of outlet. I use this as one of my creative outlets in order to express myself. I realized while I was in this state who's my real friends. When you're the type of person who has been disenfranchised, who has lost everything, who is no longer part of this rat race or this matrix everybody talks about, you realize that a lot of the things that people focus on are actual bullshit. I'm focusing on things that are productive. I've been focusing on this channel. I'm reintegrating back into society. I'm trying to get my business back up and running. I had a business. That business completely fell apart because of some of the stuff that happened with me, because I had some mental health issues. I had a breakdown. I had some addictions that I was trying to remedy the mental breakdown, and it was just like a never-ending cycle. And now I'm in this place where I am rebuilding. And I want to help people that are watching these videos understand that no matter what happens in life, you can get through it. Being on house arrest was probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Everything that you go through in life, you can look at it two ways. You can look at a bad thing as, why me? Why is this happening to me? Why don't I have better luck? suck. Or you can be a winner and look at it like, what is this teaching me? This has taught me so much about myself. It's taught me that I'm resilient. It's taught me that no matter what I go through, I know that I'll come out the other end. I'll come out stronger. It's taught me that the best way to live is to live a sober life, to stay away from all kinds of substances. So many people have this perception that being intoxicated is normal. The fact that weed has been legalized, the fact that alcohol is legal, it's become like this social thing where people think they can just get intoxicated and it doesn't affect their life in a negative light. And I've realized that now that I'm sober, now that I don't do any of these substances, it's like a superpower. I feel like I'm a lot more aware of everything. That's another thing I've learned about being on house arrest and being forced to be introspective is self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the most important qualities we can have, and there are so many people who lack self-awareness. They just pass their accountability onto somebody else. They don't take on their own issues, they just push them off. Another thing I learned about being on house arrest is I value my time. I have to have good time management. Every single minute counts in my day. I literally go to work in the morning, I go to the gym right after, because on the weekend, I don't have time to work out. I've learned a lot about just how precious life is. You can do something, you can make some mistakes, and you can lose your freedom. When you lose your freedom, you start appreciating the freedoms you have. I see so many people that complain so much on social media. They bitch about the government, they bitch about their interest rates, and yeah, it's valid, but imagine you lost everything. Imagine you had a mental health problem. Imagine you had a drug addiction and everything just went down the drain. At that point, you would be praying you had that high interest rate. You would be praying you had that shitty job you're working right now. People don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. When I first got arrested, I lost my vehicle. I was walking everywhere. I went from making good money as a business owner to like having nothing, walking around with toonies and loonies in my pocket. And at that time, all I wanted was a new vehicle or just an older vehicle that I could just drive around in. All I wanted was to win my court case. All I wanted was pretty much what I have now. And the thing is, now I want more. No matter what we do as humans, we always want more. That's just how we're hardwired. We always want to do better. In these type of situations, you learn how to enjoy the moment. You learn how to appreciate things. I honestly can't wait until this house arrest is done. I'm 2 weeks out from getting my ankle monitor off. I'm looking forward to the day where I can just go for a walk on a Saturday morning, have a coffee. I really wanted to spread this message. I want people to understand that you need to appreciate what you have. And if you're a person who is going through what I'm going through right now, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can make it through. You can get through your addictions. A few years ago, I was a complete mess. I was doing drugs. I was partying. I was spending all of my money. I took a nosedive into rock bottom for the second time in my life. I thought I was hopeless when I was coming out of it. I ended up pulling myself out and I ended up becoming sober and getting away from all of the bad influences of my life and coming out on the other end as a much better person. You can get through the other end too. There's so many different ways to do it. I did the 12-step programs for a little bit. I went to therapy. I went to addictions counseling. There's so many different resources. Going to the gym helped me. I just want to share this experience and share this recovery experience with my followers, with my subs, and anybody else that's watching, because I want people to understand that no matter how broken you are in life, you can 100% come back on the other end as a better person. If I look at the worst thing that's ever happened to me, it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. Some people think that the worst thing that happened to them is like a why me? Why did this happen? But if you really want to be a winner in life, you have to look at the fact that the worst thing that's happened to you is probably the best thing that happened to you, because it's going to teach you how to be a better person. That's all I got for this one. If you want to talk about this further, leave a message in the comments. If you want to like and subscribe to this video, it helps me reach more people and it helps me with the algorithm. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. Stay skeptical. See you in the next video. I'm out.